Have you ever read Great Expectations? You probably don't know much about it if you attended government schools. They don't require students to read the great novels of the 19th century anymore, which is a shame. But did you know that that book has a red-pilled take on women? In fact, one could make the argument that it has a MGTOW undertone in regards to the protagonist's love interest. Once I realized the author of the book, Charles Dickens, captured the essence and motivations of a woman in the 3 stages of her life, which are prepubescence, prime fertility, and postmenopausal, then it almost became a game to me, whereby I would try to recognize the female motivations and compare it to the women of today. Spoiler alert, there's not much difference. Dickens illustrates the female hypergamy brilliantly through the character of Stella, the love interest of the protagonist. The destructive capabilities of female hypergamy is on full display, and it almost ruins the protagonist. I'd like to go in depth into Stella's character. Maybe I'll make a video later on. Give me a thumbs up and it would give me the incentive to do it. Instead, I'd like to focus on the post-menopausal woman in the story. Her name is Miss Havisham. This post-menopausal woman is the prime example of an old maid. She is childless, husbandless, and lives alone, wallowing in her own black pit of despair. Her character in Dickens' novel is eccentric, to put it mildly. She was abandoned by her fiancé on her wedding day, decades before, causing her to exude very odd behavior. Since the failed wedding decades prior, the old woman sits in her faded wedding dress every day, with only one shoe on, because she heard the news of her betrothed's abandonment in the midst of putting on her shoes. In her damp, dark, and dilapidated mansion, she sits in a tenebrous room, surrounded by unworking clocks that all read 8:40, precisely when she read the letter from her fleeing fiancé. I mean, the lady was nuts, right? If you've read the book, you know that her antics and peculiar behavior doesn't stop there. It pervades through the novel. Now let's leave Miss Havisham for a minute, and I want to now turn our attention to Jenna Marbles. If you're not familiar with her, she is an immensely popular YouTuber, and has been for years now. She appeals mainly to millennial women, mostly in their 20s, maybe their early 30s, and also younger girls in their teens. Jenna is unfortunately seen as a role model to many of them. She is 33, childless, and has been living with her boyfriend Julian, a popular YouTuber as well, for years now. Unfortunately, I'm pretty well versed in the life of Jenna and the content she puts out because my ex-wife watched her religiously. Jenna produces, well, let's characterize it as millennial humor. It's eccentric, sometimes nonsensical entertainment. Here's a clip of her a month ago where she hides Easter eggs for her dogs.
Kids, just know, if you're in your 30s and you don't have any kids, this is what you have to look forward to. Look, I think I found one.
Oh god, he's peeing.
Now, her content often revolves around capers involving her dogs. Some of her videos include her having a wedding for her dogs, several videos where she reads mean comments regarding her dogs, a video in which she throws her dogs a pool party, a video in which she makes Halloween costumes for them, a video in which she treats them like human babies for a day, and a video in which she buys them whatever they touch at a pet store. This is only scratching the surface. Her YouTube career spans 8 years, so you can imagine how many videos relate to her dogs. Recently, I came across Jenna's channel by chance, and for some reason I watched a few of her latest videos. Her and Jenna have added a new addition to their family since I last saw them. Now tell me, after watching these clips, if you can figure out who the new addition is.
And we just got the call tonight on the way home that they have a little girl ready for us, and she's in her foster home, and I'm like beside myself. I'm so excited.
She's talking about a dog, this monstrosity. So they adopted their 4th dog, a greyhound rescue, and throughout the entire video, Jenna treats her as if she were a child. Her behavior in these videos is consistent with a woman who is unbalanced. It is also consistent with a theory of mine I've had in regards to women in the West who are eschewing having kids. Instead of finding a husband and filling their house full of laughing children, they instead fill that childless void with pets. Now, most women get dogs and cats, but the more leftist, progressive women, I've noticed, tend to get more unusual or exotic pets. Fish, birds, lizards, ferrets, snakes. In the case of Jenna, she diverts all of her motherly compassion to her now 4 dogs. Her avoidance of marriage and childbearing comes at no surprise. She has often scoffed at the idea of marriage in previous videos, and in fact, she released a video 7 years ago on marriage. Despite its vapidity, she makes it clear that marriage is not a priority for her.
There's such a big pressure on girls and guys to like hurry up and settle down and whatever else, and I just do not feel that way. Every boyfriend I've ever had, I'm like, look dude, if you propose to me anytime within the next, I don't know, 10 years, I'm just gonna flat out say no. No thank.
Now Jenna, I don't think there is a pressure to get married and have children anymore. I think that's flat out wrong. The prevailing attitude, as far as I know, in the West now, especially for girls, is to put off marriage for college and a career. It's obvious Jenna was exposed to that propaganda. I mean, she's spouting it right here.
Thank you. I have a hard time wrapping my brain around what your fucking hurry is. 18-year-olds, 21-year-olds getting married. Why, dude? Why? And that's kind of a rhetorical question. I understand there's lots of reasons why. But the way I look at it is, if you're theoretically gonna be with that person forever, why do you need to get married like now?
Well, Jenna, you get married for the children, right? I mean, come on. It is best for them to be raised by both their parents who remain in a stable, predictable relationship. I don't blame her, though, for having that opinion. Society has encouraged millennials to delay having children, and it will spell the ruin for the Western democracies.
The main reason I just wanted to make this video is because I think that you should be able to make your own thoughts and choices about marriage, and that disclosing some of my ideas maybe might just take a little bit of pressure off for you and be like, you know what, I don't have to do what everyone else is doing or what society tells me to do. I can do whatever the fuck I want.
And here is the main problem in the West. We allow women to have full autonomy and make their own choices. Now, I'm not condoning the subjugation of women or violence against women, but I'm being practical here, factoring in the biological predilection of women. They are prone to irrationality, and they score high on agreeableness. So in other words, they go along with the prevailing and popular opinions of the tribe, and they tend to follow a strong man to a fault. They have looked to men for guidance for the entire history of mankind until now. However, with a society of weak men like we have today, the feminine has been able to run amok, unchecked for decades now, which has resulted in women making bad decision after bad decision. They have become their own worst enemies. So who does Jenna remind you of? Remember Miss Havisham, the forgotten old maid, secluded in her neglected mansion, sitting in her yellow-stained wedding dress, rambling endlessly about the man from decades before who ran out on her? So she is Jenna. Jenna is her.
Give me my breastfeeding pillow.
You like that?
Is it supporting him at all?
Yeah, this thing is actually so helpful, and you can, it's like a little
He looks
shelf.
really comfortable too.
Hermie, why don't we start with a bottle? I just asked Google if dogs can have almond milk, and it said in moderation it's okay. Here, bud. Okay, like, is it just me, or is he like, he's actually kind of like enjoying this a little bit? You want some milk? Ooh, we got a lick. What do you think about a peanut butter bottle?
This is exactly what happens to women when they don't have children. They go crazy. Their biological imperative to have children is not sated. Consequently, the woman lives the rest of their lives in misery, locked in a mental terror of their own doing. You're aware of the cat lady trope, right? I'm sure you are. There's a reason that trope exists. It's because those type of women exist, and they're on the rise. They compensate for not having children by filling their house with pets, mainly cats. This allows them to care for another living creature that is dependent on them, what they have a predilection for. But for these women, it's like being hungry, but only having water to satiate their hunger. It might quell the hunger pains for just a little bit, but they never, ever feel full. And that is what it's like for a childless woman. It's actually sad. It really is. I've heard stories online of childless women who hit that age and realize they missed their time. These women cry themselves to sleep every night, holding tightly their barren, hollow womb. It really is a tragedy. This is why I fucking loathe these women, like Jenna in her marriage video, who influence young girls to forego childbirth as long as they can. It's truly a form of gene murder.
I cried like a little baby the second that I saw her, and I can't believe that she's our baby girl. I was saying to Julian, we got Peach 5 years ago now, but like Peach is Julian's baby, you know, like I'm her mommy, but it was Julian getting Peachy. But for me, it's been 11 years ago and 9 years ago since I've done this. I'm not gonna put on makeup because I'm gonna cry it off. It's hard, you know, it's hard to have your dog growl at you. And my soft, sappy, weak heart sometimes just cries about it, you know, even though that's not gonna fucking help anybody. But that's the truth, is that sometimes I cry because it just like, it hurts my heart and I'm just sad for her and I wish she didn't have to feel like that.
Jenna, do you know what else is worth crying about? Yeah, a baby. Your own child, your own children. A baby who grows miraculously inside of you, who has the ability to brighten your life with unimaginable and unrivaled felicity. Jenna is becoming Miss Havisham. Her current circumstances, eschewing marriage and children, in lieu of a career and a hedonistic lifestyle, will lead her to the same fate as the old maid in Great Expectations. And this fate is an irrational, purposeless existence. I can totally picture Jenna, 30 years from now, in her 60s, still dressing up her dogs in baby clothes, spoon-feeding them, just desperately wanting them to love her. But they can't. They're dogs. Hey, thanks for watching this video. I'd like to make more like this, so if you could subscribe, like the video, and share it around, I would greatly appreciate it. And it'd help me really grow this channel. Have a good day, and I'll see you in the next one.